Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. I am Robert W. Jones. I am the man that's on the seat here out in the land of the oven, which isn't too oven-like right now, in sunny Arizona, which isn't overly sunny right now. But at any rate, if you came here for sun and fun, maybe you'll find the fun, but you won't find much sun out here right now. I want to welcome to your show. Welcome you to the show and welcome you also to a launch day. It's the launch day for the Art of Connection book series, the Art of Connection 365 days. Oh, this is leap year. So in 2024, there's going to be an extra day. So there's actually 366, but with search engine optimization, we want to keep it simple and say 365. But at any rate, that's the inside story. So it is available. You can go to mybook.to. That's mybook.to /Art of Connection 4. Art of Connection 4, and you can get your Kindle. It's a very large volume. It's a 2.1 pound book, and I would love to be able to offer that for 99 cents, but due to the size of it, it's $1.99 as a Kindle version. Please go there and support all the wonderful authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers who choose to voice to the world their piece of gratitude. And I'm so amazed that we're finally here. Also, I want to remind everyone, we love your likes, we love your love, we love your emojis. Go to facebook.com /iNetrepreneur Radio or youtube.com /iNetrepreneur Radio. Please like us. And if you don't like spelling very much, just bookmark us. Then you won't have to, spell iNetrepreneur ever again. Also, you can go to our websites, iNetrepreneur Magazine. See, there's that word again, .com or thecontemporarywoman.com to pick up a subscription to our digital magazines. And we'd love to have you subscribe. There's a bunch of wonderful information in there. And lastly, ntevents.net. People always ask me, how do I find out what's going on in the iNetrepreneur Network community? Because you have each week anywhere from 8 to 10 things going on. Just go to ntevents.net. That's like Network Together Events, ntevents.net. Go to our calendar and register there. Our members, the guests, our authors would love to meet you. So I am going to get on with my show today. I am really excited. I have Robert Santana. He is in the house today. How are you, Robert?
I'm excellent. Thank you, Robert.
Well, you're coming in, and we were just speaking before the show. I said, Robert, you got a new hairstyle. And it's like, no, I don't got a new hairstyle. I just combed my hair. And I'm like, come on now. Oh, my goodness. So everyone, I'm with Jay. See, I put the J in there because there's Mary J. She's coming on next. I'm Robert J. And I'm putting you as J.Robert. So we got a lot of J's going on right now. You can call us J, just don't call us J Bird. But at any rate, I'm with J.Robert Santana. He's a speaker and wellness and travel entrepreneur and owner of the Wellness Benefits Group. You can contact him at rsantana @thewellnessbenefitsgroup.com or call him at 323-397-2270. Did I get that right?
2770.
I like the way you said. I'll just say, let's do it like that. 323-397-2770. Robert, I've gotten to talk to you a few times, and one of the things that is ultimately amazing to me is you come from a numbers background, and very similar to my background. I did computer programming, I did coding. I was also in the military. A lot of things that don't necessarily speak social, that don't speak actually, being in front of people, and having fun and excitement and energy and, empowerment and all these foo-foo, woo-wee words that we hear sometimes when we're in these industry niches. But what's amazing about you is you're in one of those industry niches, and you are someone who you show up each and every time, to get interviewed. You show up when I interview on a panel. You come in and you present, and you always bring it. And so, what is this? Do you have a little left brain, right brain thing going on, or just were you just one of those kids that was dropped too many times, and so you have a savant in both areas? Tell us a little bit about you, and how did you come to this realization that where people are more fascinating than numbers?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I wasn't really ever good at math, but I'm really good at money. And so, that's a different way of approaching math. And so, as I live and as we were growing up and finances and things like that, I started seeing that we had to figure out how to survive. And as I was observing, as I was growing up, survival isn't just the money implications, but it was relationships and how it is that we have relationships with people, with money, with networking, and being able to figure out things in life and jobs and how to create security and things of that nature. So my fascination first was always been people, because people are always the best investment to invest in those relationships. And then with that, I understood, of course, the value of financing and money and health and wealth and all of that. So it kind of grew steadily, step by step, and so that's how I got involved in both of them, and I just have a passion for people and travel and finances and mentoring.
Well, I think that, in many ways you have perseverance. You've overcome. You have a deep desire of being heard and providing value. And I say that there's like three ways that there's two ways that people kind of grow up. It's what nature has given them, and then what nurturing has been provided. The
Mm.
last thing, and I think that you have utilized as well, which we don't often talk about, is the noodle. I'm like, no matter what nature and what nurture you're provided with, you can still utilize your noodle to overcome anything. And I think you do that a lot. But you weren't born with the silver spoon in hand, as I recall, were you?
No, born and raised in East Los Angeles, and not the best neighborhoods in the world. Was fortunate to go into private schools from first grade to eighth grade. Went to a boarding school in high school in Montebello, and then from there went into Cal State Los Angeles, and worked my way up, and with ups and downs and things like that. I always had to look at the differences between, I always tell my kids, you can live in the hood, but you don't have to act like you're from the hood. You have to rise above it. But the reality is that we have to be also compassionate with those people that don't have opportunities to be able to do something different. So it's our job to be able to, to get out of that. And you get out of that through here, through your
Yeah.
mind. You get out of it through your attitude. You get out of it through spirituality. That was a big part
Hmm.
of what was going on, and being able to learn from those things, to be able to help other people, help ourselves, and then be able to get out of the circumstances and figure those things out.
And you brought up something that really does matter to me. You brought up the word spirituality, and it really is kind of unnerving to me sometimes. I was a junior pastor at one time. I did two church missions. I like to say that I'm a believer. And I don't believe that we're saved through works. I believe that we're saved through grace. But
Yes.
I show my life through my work. And
Right.
it seems like so much of the time, to even state that, it feels like in certain ways, you know, people who are spiritual or Christians are under attack, but you really use that as a fire to, like, fortify who you are in your heart and how you serve. And you also, utilize this strength to show up for your kids. Tell us about, when did you really decide to embrace spirituality and use that as really a trunk that really has helped you lead your life?
Yeah, to make a Cliff Note version of it, because I'm a little bit old, and we don't want to take 4 hours here. But
Yeah.
I was born and raised Catholic, Roman Catholic. Did the whole thing, First Communion. I was an altar boy. I was a kneeler. I was always attracted to that. Went to grammar school in East Los Angeles, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and Hamilton Hazard, and then I went to St. Vincent Seminary, where I was the minor seminary studying to become a priest of Vincentian in the Vincentian
Mm.
order. From that, life happened, college happened, and found out that there are women in the world, and I happen to be attracted to them as well. And I was very sheltered, but I had a lot of confusion that was happening in my
Mm.
life, and being into a discipline of morning prayers, evening prayers, masses all day, and different things like that, and going through some unfortunate experiences, within the confines of Catholicism and the situation that I was in. I always had to figure out, well, what's going on, what's the truth, and I was lost for a long time, but I did know that Christ was my Lord and Savior, and I decided to explore, and I
Hmm.
explored it in a very unique way because I figured not everyone's right. Something's got to be the truth, and so I had to figure that out. And so I took a journey in really going through different experiences, going through different types of beliefs and religions and things like that. And I did that through relationships with people and seeing that how are you going to show up when life really happens? Because see,
Yeah.
as a born again Christian, I realized that I was a non-practicing Catholic, but I was a practicing Christian, right? And what that just basically meant is that I did away with a lot of doctrine and stuff like that, and I realized where service is all about. And
Yeah.
so I started looking at people and other beliefs, and when I say, okay, it's okay when you're a Christian, it's easy to say God is good and God is great, but when life happens to you,
Hmm.
show me Christianity. See,
Yeah.
that's the true test. And when I saw different beliefs, people were always falling short when it came to that.
You
And
know,
so I,
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm, because one of the things says it's, I say sometimes it's easy to believe, but it's hard to have faith. Because belief is embracing something, but faith to me is staying with something. And when you have faith, it can't help but bleed over to other places. And I think that that's important to understand. Having belief and faith, which leads to perseverance and leads to courage and leads to to me doing great things. I think that that's what has helped you weather through some of the things that have happened over the last few years, COVID among them, right?
yes, yeah, exactly. And, this is why I believe that um, people that are believers and that are really spiritual and that have faith and put faith forward become awesome entrepreneurs
Mm.
because there's no security necessarily in business. You're putting faith forward, you're putting service forward, and you're hoping that what you're doing and what you're delivering and what you're offering is going to be reciprocated back when there's no guarantees. And
Yeah.
so the reality is it's that faith, that core of dependency that God will provide regardless. You still just got to go through the work and he'll open the doors for you is the practice that needs to happen. So, like you said, we're saved by faith, but the works that we do are a product, a byproduct of the faith that's being done.
And a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, they have been tested over the last few years, and a lot of them have been your clients. You know, when when you work with your clients, it's more about, it's much more than you're just providing a service for them. What the way that you look at your clients is, how do I help create a roadmap, so they can succeed, so they can find success? Because if they're not succeeding, if they're not finding success, they won't be your clients for very long.
Right.
And that's what I really appreciate about you, Robert, is you really do take the time to 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 listen. And I think for a lot of professionals nowadays, we got so much stuff coming at. There's so much head trash. There's so many things to kind of get us off the mark. you know how to live in the present, and you know how to sit with your clients and really deep dive into, what are their pain points, and how can we get you past this. And I know right now you may be, just trying to survive, but your goal really is to get everyone to thrive, isn't it?
Correct. It's what it is how do we
Hmm.
help each other? We all have purpose. And when you find your purpose, you know what you need to do. And the purpose is to serve in whatever capacity that the Lord's given you, because we all have gifts and we
Yeah.
have to be able to be good stewards of that. And the reality is that especially in different industries, it's really the relationship is very transactional. And in
Hmm.
businesses, it seems to be a very transactional relationship. And so what I want to do is for it to not be so transactional and be more uh, familiar, more like a family, more of a different type of connection, to be able to do that, even though you're doing business. The old saying of people don't care how much you know until
Yeah.
they know how much you care is important when you start looking at how do you empower, embrace, edify, and correct. It's always saying about it's always connection over correction,
Yeah.
because everyone can correct and we're so fast to do that, but it's harder for us to connect first. When you have the connections there and they know where you're coming from, they know that the feedback that you're giving them is coming out of love and not out of being critical. Then they're going to accept the correction or the edification, or whatever it is that you provide to allow them to become better. And they got to admit, and they have an accountability piece to say, you know what, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take ownership. And you know what, I'm going to change. And
Yeah,
that's
that's it. That's it. Because that is the place that sometimes is so hard, is, creating the space for change. And,
right.
and you do that so well, but, here's the thing, you know, not only, are you gifted in that, you've also created and you've provided training programs, so your clients and people that you come in contact with, you help kickstart them. But here's the thing, there's knowledge and there's wisdom, and see, you have places to help your clients gain more knowledge, but then you also have the voice to help them learn that knowledge so they can start seeking into their own wisdom. Now, one thing greater than that is, and I know I'm talking a little bit here, because the biggest thing is are we listening? And so we have a mutual friend, and I heard him, and it almost reminded me of Jerry Maguire. And I don't know if you know the movie Jerry Maguire. It's been a long time ago, and it was like Jay Moore and Tom Cruise, and then
Yep.
Cuba Gooding Jr. was the ASU football player. Now, it was about the time I went to grad school at ASU, and it really struck me. And I remember the one agent, looking at Cuba Gooding and Tom Cruise, and they were like hugging in this really warm embrace. And he's like, "Man, I wish we had a relationship like that." And I'll
Right.
never forget that, because you reminded me, and this is with Jeffrey Morris, you reminded me what great relationships look like. And, because it was just like, yeah, I want my accountant, I want my tax preparer to make me feel that way. And not every, heck, most owners don't make their clients feel that way, but I saw you do that, and it made an impression with me, Robert. And it made me think of that movie, and I said, it's like, yeah, I want a guy like that. That's how deep you go, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it truly is. You appreciate people in different way, and we're so caught up either in the past because that's stopping you, and something's going on there, and you can't do anything about the past. And of course, you can plan for the future, but what's important is to be present.
Yeah.
And if you were to ask me right now, Robert, what's the most important thing in your life right now, and that's me with you at this moment and nothing
Mm,
else. Because if we become present with people like that and we give them their full attention, you don't know if you're going to see them tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be living tomorrow, but what I do know is that right now I have an opportunity. I don't believe in coincidences. I always believe in divine appointments. and they're there for a reason. So you show up, you understand what it is, and you give it everything that you can, because that might be the last thing, or the one thing that can change a person's life. And that's what leaving a legacy and being immortal is, to be able to put into people's lives your energy, the wisdom, the things that you need to connect with lives, so that they can be empowered for change. And if they change a little bit and you're a part of that, you've made a difference, a legacy difference.
Oh, I agree so much. One of the things I've been championing here, really recently, and I just kind of wanted to share with you is, I love personal development. I love being able to read. I love being able to be around people. I love being able to have, masterminds, etc. Just teaching and training and modeling after successful habits. But one of the things I've really been coming on really recently, Robert, is, personal development is also personal influence. And one of the things, as you keep absorbing just the richness of personal development, it shows up with you, and it can't help but create a positive effect, for those that are around you, in your family life, in your business life, in your community. Tell us why personal development is so important for you.
Yeah, it's crucial. It's as crucial as my spiritual development. We are source, and
Hmm.
we have to grab source from wherever things, whatever is provided. For me, my source is Christ,
Hmm.
from the spiritual realm, but personal development from the business arena is as equal and as important, because we have to relate to what the tools that the world is giving us.
Hmm.
And those tools are a lot. Now, not all of them serve you, but like I always say, chew the hay and spit out the sticks, right? Whatever works for you works. Whatever doesn't work for you, you don't. And you seek those things out. You follow people that have been successful, and you're going to be able to see a pattern. And whether they're spiritually connected or not, the one unanimous pattern is serving. It's
Yeah.
servanthood, whether it's spiritual or whether it's business. It's about serving. It's about impacting. It's about giving an offering to people that's going to help their lives in different ways, shapes, or forms. And it doesn't matter what it is. When the intention of that happens, the only way you can tap in is by developing yourself into understanding humanity, by understanding yourself first.
Mm.
If you don't get you, how can you get to somebody else? Christ always met people where they were at.
Hmm.
But once he met them there, he set the bar and said, now it's time for you to choose and to change. And in personal development, it's the same thing. You've gotten to where you are now based on everything that you've done, which is great. But for you to move forward, you have to get more information, different mindsets, always changing, so that you can go into a different level, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
And because of
absolutely.
that, that's where personal development comes in. You start discovering and unveiling different parts of you that you didn't know existed, because your maturity level is different. Your experiences are different. It's no different than watching a movie. When you watch it the third, the fourth time, you're like, I didn't notice this and I didn't
Hmm.
notice that. Well, why is that? Well, because you're growing, you're maturing. And
You know,
because of that, you're able to see things that are different. So personal development is a lifelong journey that you don't stop doing. You stop learning when you're dead, right? That's when you
right.
stop learning. Until then, you always have to keep an open mind, because it affirms you, it confirms you, and then based on your experience, you get to break through other things that you never thought before, because you are now ready for it.
Yeah, and it's just like you get me thinking again, because I remember when I was young, I was told, read this book, read this book, read this book, and it was called Think and Grow Rich. And I read the book, and I'm like, yeah, it's just, it's just another book. It might as well have been like, a Hardy Boys, novel or something like
Right.
that. Because I mean, I was reading it, but the words didn't have any meaning to me. It was just like, but the second time was 20 years later. I read the book again, and golly, I feel the hair on my body rise. And all of a sudden, you know, I wasn't reading the words anymore, Robert. I was feeling the words. And all of
Yes.
a sudden, the words that he wrote were the words that I was starting to know. And I think that that's what it's like, as we live life. It's, you know, I think as we grow, and one of the biggest things that we're talking about now, because launch days, from now until next week with the official book launch, is learning to practice with gratitude, and learning to know that, yeah, life throws a lot at us, absolutely, but it's not too much that we can't handle. And if we practice that attitude of gratitude, we can overcome anything. So I wanted to get with you, and just, before we go in the segment, you actually do work for a living. So I I just wanted to see, you do tax preparation, you help people with benefits. Just tell us a little bit about your business, because I want to make sure that people know that you're a passionate business owner who loves what you do.
Absolutely, Robert. I own two companies. The first one is Virtual Online Tax and Services. I've been doing virtual taxes since 2011. I started in 2008, and I started it because God had shut some doors, and I was reluctant. I was trying to open them, and He said nope. And so it allowed me to walk into this industry where I got really passionate about and started understanding some different things, and went through our ups and downs and things of that nature. But it went into connection, it went into people's lives and people's finances, because
Hmm.
there's very few people in your lives as people that you're fully exposed to. Your doctor, your pastor, your accountant. Those are where
Yeah.
you just kind of like, look, this is who I am, and so I need a full trust, and to understand the responsibility of that, I took to heart, and I said, you know what? Here's an opportunity that God led me, which I would have never told you I would have done that, to say you can impact people's lives and in a very profound way, because they can't hide from you. They can social media say this and that, but we know some truths behind all of that. And so you're exposed. This is a real you. So I did that, and it's based on relationships and empowering, and then making things really simple, and not getting very technical about some things. So I'm not your typical, accountant and tax preparer, because I love people, and a lot of them, they just
Yeah.
kind of do the work. Here's a project and call me later, and it's not, and for me, it's not that. And that's why we're going into tax advisory as well, to help people further along, get people from a beginner. I need to want to start a business. What do I do? And I take you from zero to hero and start you in the right path and give you those things that you need to do. And then from there, in continuing to do that, I believe that as an entrepreneur, which I am, it's a matter of multiple streams of income and not
Right.
just one. You don't want to put everything, all your eggs in one basket. And so I have the Wellness Benefit Group, which is a travel technology that we broker that allows people to travel local and worldwide at a wholesale price. It's not offered to the public. And so we do it as a voluntary benefit. We do it for independent contractors and different things like that. And it allows people, I'm trying to get people to have travel to create memories and to make those connections, and
Hmm.
to harness that health and that wealth, because that's what it's about. Most people,
Hmm.
wealth and travel go together, but families and connections and things like that are around those things too, except they've become unaffordable. And so now we have a platform that makes it affordable for you, so that people can now go over there. Back in the day, used to give you vacation days. Why? To take an actual vacation. Today, that
Absolutely.
doesn't exist. It's just paid time off, and that's it. And
Yeah,
Another
you pay time to, to do your other job or something,
yeah,
right? I mean, and I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things is I'm going to say this so many times, will finally believe me. I always say entrepreneurs spend far too much time on what they do and not enough time on who they are. And a part of the who they are is getting out there and just breathing in this crazy thing called life and soaking up this beautiful world that we live in, don't you think?
absolutely. Everyone waits for, like, I'm going to go for this when I get to retirement, then I can do this. When I
Hmm.
get to this, then I can do that. But that's assuming you're going to have a tomorrow, which is why being so present is important. What are you going to do today? And everything has its time. Nothing has
Yeah.
to involve you so much. When I'm done here, I'm done. I'm going to go live life. I'm going to meet friends. I'm going to connect with family. We're going to get in arguments. We're going to have some laughter. We're going to cry. We're going to go through all of the beautiful emotions that we have in humanity and be able to grow from it, because that's what it's about. And so being able to travel and being able to experience, being able to connect, being able to do all of these things are important in life. We're not professional bill payers. We're
Yeah,
not we're not
you're
born to
right.
do that,
Yes.
right? So we have to always make sure that we live life in all areas of our life fullest.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love talking to you. I always know if I see your number come up on my phone, I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be a 3 minute call. It's going to be a 30-minute call. So I always have to prepare myself. I'm like, oh, Robert's calling. Do I take this call? So, everyone, I am, oh, amazing, amazing. I am here with Jay. He won't give you the J. I'll let him give you the J. J.Robert Santana. He's a speaker, wellness and travel expert, entrepreneur, and owner of the Wellness Benefit Group. You can contact him at rsantana at thewellnessbenefitgroup.com. That's rsantana at thewellnessbenefitgroup.com. Or just, he's just, hey, he's fearless. You can call him even 323 9 wait 323, help me out here, 397-2770. That's
Correct.
323-397-2770. Robert, thank you so much for being on the show today. What a great time. Love having you here.
I appreciate you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and God bless.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Again, everyone, I was with J.Robert Santana. He is a speaker, a wellness coach, a travel guru, an entrepreneur. I don't know. He probably even kicked a few soccer balls around in his day. Amazing guy. Came up from East Los Angeles to be an amazing man that you see him today. Please reach out to him, contact him. Get some type of an appointment for him. He's such an amazing person. I also want to remind everyone again that the #1 international best-selling book series, book number 4 in the series, the Art of Connection, 365 Days of Gratitude Quotes. It is out. It starts today. Please get your Kindle copy. And you know what? When it comes out, get your hard copy too. Have both. Have one on your phone and one at home. It doesn't get better than that. Well, I'm really excited. I have a first-time guest on the show right now, and I'm going to bring her on to the stage. It's Mary J, not Blige, but Mary J Robinson. She is here today, and she's on the iEntrepreneur radio show. Mary, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
It is such an honor to have you here. And what I love about connection is we would not be connected if it wasn't for Dar Geiger. And and my mom wouldn't have met Dar Geiger and you if it wasn't for me. But anyway, and it's so incredible to me that the book of this magnitude really does bring heart-centered, like-minded people from all around the world, where we get to really meet, and the main thing is just connect. How beautiful is that?
Oh, it's just amazing. I'm so blessed to have met you right before the book got launched, actually. And it was thanks to Dar. She told me about it, and I was like, I'm gonna get a hold of him.
You,
So
you, en-
thank you
you
for
ended up, yeah,
responding.
you ended up being the last page in the book. You
Yeah,
were the
right?
you were the last page. It's almost like, in football they call it Mr. Irrelevant. That's the last person drafted. So, and that person went to the Super Bowl. So you're like the same. You're my Super Bowl person.
Right?
so every so everyone, I'm with Mary J. Robinson. She's an author, speaker. She practices holistic health. I mean, holistic health, the good health. And she's owner of Kaleidoscope Energy LLC. You can contact her at kaleidoscopenergy@gmail.com or contact her at 402. And I remember 402 is Omaha, Nebraska, everyone. So I know that. So 402-660-1965. Again, 1965. And so thank you so much. So, you know, I want to kind of confess something to you. Speaking of spirituality and everything getting out of the way, you know, I I read your bio, and it really touched me quite a bit, because my life was it was wonderful. It was going great. And at the age of 40, I ended up getting cancer. And I remember when at 40 years old getting cancer, I just thought I was going to kind of cruise through life and I'm kind of invincible. And it was like the first thing in my life where all of a sudden mortality caved in on me. And it was like, oh my gosh. But I was trying to ignore it. I sold my business. I wanted to come to Arizona. I wanted to be around my lovely family, including my wonderful mom. And my dad had moved out here as well. And so I was, you know, getting real estate. And what happened was is the real estate crash of 2007 through 2009 hit. My goal was to always move back to San Diego, where I moved from, and so I could buy a nicer house than the little itty bitty shoebox that I had. But here I am selling my business, and the real estate crash, and then all of a sudden, on top of it, I ended up getting cancer. And at that time in my life, it really tested me, and I just felt like, why me? Why do I get this? And then, and I lost my marriage as well. And so I really had to rekindle and retool myself. So when I was reading a little bit about your life, you have that same understanding as well, Mary. You understand what it's like to really take, you know, this world of lemons in such a way, and create a beautiful lemonade out of it as well, so you can help others. Tell us, since we don't know you too well yet in INET, tell us a little bit about your story and what you've overcome to be where you're at now.
Okay, so I grew up in a Christian home, and I believe that I always wanted to help people. Like I've known that my whole life. Me and my friends would have, a classroom teacher, classroom basically in the basement, and we would pretend that we were teachers and whatnot. And I knew I always wanted to have a family, and uh, that did come to that came to a reality. And I became a teacher of the visually impaired and a certified orientation mobility specialist. And I had been working for a few years, and it was about the year 2011 that I was part of a Teacher of Tomorrow group. It was 16 people, teachers nationwide, that were chosen. And I feel like it was a God project.
Hmm.
I ended up running into a lady who had a little boy in a stroller. He was probably 3 years old or so, and he was very fussy. So I went to talk to them. I was at a conference at the time for visual impaired students and parents with children of visual impairments. And the mom said that he was very tactile defensive, and he didn't want to touch things. And so she started telling me about his story, and he had a gap between the other kids of his age. And she went on to tell me that she quit her job because she was so worried that he didn't want to touch anything, play with anything. He sat in the corner and cried when the early interventionists would come in. And when she told me that she started a garden in her backyard and he didn't want anything to do with it, but after a short while, I mean, regular exposure to the court or to the garden and whatnot, he started to touch and pick and taste. And he started to work with the early interventionist. And I thought, if that mom could do that with a garden in her backyard, think of what an area for students with all abilities could do for them. And it's called the sensory courtyard, is what the project was that I tried to facilitate, and I'm the founder of it and whatnot. And it did come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is it took about 3 years. I raised at least $180,000, lots of presentations, blood, sweat, tears, writing grants, you name it. And right before the sensory courtyard was about to open, I wasn't feeling well. And so I feel like I should have paid attention to those signs. And I thought maybe I was just tired because of everything that I was doing. I had 4 young children. I'm a wife, and, mommy duties on top of working full time. And I had this project going on. Well, finally, the last straw hit, and I went to the doctor and I asked for some blood work. And little did I know how bad it was going to be. And it ended up being, through some blood tests and bone marrow biopsy, acute myeloid leukemia, which is not a good one to have. There's a few different strands of leukemia. And boy, that hit me like a ton of bricks, because I was 38. I thought I was invincible.
Right. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that feeling so well. Yeah, it really does, because it just seems like, life goes on forever, and then all of a sudden you get steamrolled. And I think sometimes, there's 2 ways you can go on that. You can go there and you could say, well, this is what life is going to be like, or you could say, you know what, this is what life's going to be like, and I'm going to handle this. I'm going to move on. I have the faith, I have the strength, I have the courage, and I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm going to utilize this, and I'm going to show myself, and all those that love me. And then, even beyond that, for like you, for the kids that can learn from you, I think there's a purpose in that as well. Don't you, Mary?
Yes, I do. And also I want to bring up that, I was fortunate to have a choice. I could choose to fight, or I could choose to not. And I chose to fight. There are so many that are killed in car accidents every day, or, just don't have an option. And I chose to fight, and I prayed to God to have mercy on me. And my faith, you were talking about faith earlier in the show, was never more strong. I trusted with all my heart that I was going to make it through. And yes, there were bad days. I'll admit it. It wasn't perfect. I did cry, but I didn't dwell on that. I lived in the present. I looked forward to the future. I wanted to see my kids grow up and graduate from high school, be trustworthy adults, hardworking. I wanted to see them get married and have grandkids. And so I just really focused on the positive. And I know there's kind of a cliche about the positive, but I mean, I really tried hard to be optimistic, and I was a joy hunter through it all.
Oh, wow.
That's half the battle.
That is half the battle. And, kind of like there's this line, or there's this doorway. And it's like, once you cross that line, or once you, like, I see the door behind, that's probably why I'm thinking the door. So, but I say this to my kids. I'm like, once you go out that door, you can never go back and see things the same way. Everything is always different, because right now you're blind to it all. And that's true of people's stories too. And that's what I found. It's like, I can hear these stories of pain and suffering, and I can, empathize. But it wasn't until it happened to me. It wasn't until I went through that door that I actually, you know, experience, not hear, not read, right? Not see, but actually experience that. And then all of a sudden, everyone else in the world who goes through certain things became very, very real for me. Did you have that same experience as well when you went through
Well,
that
I
door?
certainly did. In fact, I don't think it really, even donating, I had so many blood and platelet transfusions.
Hmm.
I had a stem cell transplant from a donor. I didn't
Wow.
even think about donating, like the value of that, until I had to go through it, when I was literally waiting for someone to donate platelets so that I could survive. And
Wow.
so when you think about all the things, all the struggles that people go through, and yeah, you can see it on the news or read about it. And until it affects you, it's really hard to, I guess, understand what that person might
Hmm.
be going through. And, I was so grateful for the community and the love and support that my family was given. They had meal trains for us. Lots of kindness was just showered upon us. And I believe kindness grows gratitude, just like your
Yeah.
book that came out. And
Right.
so I really feel that I had a purpose in this for some reason. I've always wanted to help people, and I am a two-time acute myeloid leukemia survivor, just for the record.
Wow.
Um, the second time is when I had to have the stem cell transplant from a donor, and I believe my purpose for that is of my book, actually, which is called Seed Stem Bloom: Lessons from My Faith-Led Journey Through Cancer, is to help others. I wrote um, quite a bit of my journey on caringbridge.org, and people were saying you should write a book. And because I was talking about different strategies I was using, I was um, just talking about different perspective shifts in my life,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of that could be shared. So
Well, and it's really interesting to me, and this is what's so beautiful because, not only have you taken something that is tragic, and then all of a sudden even more tragic, traumatic and tragic, the second time, you have taken this and you've reapplied this uncomfortable energy. I'll just put it that way. And you're implying it such a way where, you're writing books and you're teaching life lessons and you're helping kind of like other people get themselves through these same tragedies and through the challenges. And quite frankly, what you've gone through can be applied personally, it could be applied in business, it can be applied to families, etc. Tell us about how the application, well, I should say it this way. Tell us about how your life has led to the application of how you run your business, which is holistic in nature.
yes, okay. So before cancer, I had no idea really about the energy work or energy related things. Um, I because of cancer, I ended up being a Reiki master teacher. Um, I became a certified herbalist, a healing touch practitioner. Had I not gone through all this stuff, I wouldn't have probably known about it. My parents just raised us in a Christian home that was very conservative, and I just didn't hear about it. But
Yeah.
through the networking and
Hmm.
resources that we have this day and age, I learned about these things and used them to my advantage, because I used them on myself too. And mindfulness and meditation and all those things that God has put on our earth,
Hmm.
I used.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, your path is very similar to mine. I still remember through networking, believe it or not, the first time I was ever introduced to a naturopathic medical doctor. What the heck is a naturopathic medical doctor? I mean, she's going to grind these seeds and she's going to put them in capsules. I mean, I had no idea. But then, but then, gosh, I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. But then when I sat down, her name was Dr. Chris Berkner, and she's here in Queen Creek, Arizona, and all of a sudden she changed my life. And she changed my life because, you know, the last part of my career was I worked for pharmaceutical and nutraceutical companies, and our main goal was getting everyone hooked on our pill supply. I mean, quite frankly, that's what it was. And I left that world when the CEO got up and hit the table and said we need more sick people, and I thought, well, this isn't what I signed up for. But
No.
the sick people are it's a growing business model. The more sick people you need, the more pills we can make, Bob. And let's give
Yeah,
pills for everyone.
right.
We'll have them taking pills at breakfast, lunch, dinner, and heck, we might even have them get up in the middle of the night to do it. And I remember, she reminded me of something. And I went to Thomas Alva Edison High School. I mean elementary school in Omaha, Nebraska. And I still remember, on there it was about healing thyself, the medicine of the future. We already have the medicine of the future. Are we willing to gift that away again? And when Dr. Berkner said, there are many ways, and if you do it long enough, you can heal thyself. You can't heal everything. You can't heal a car accident, but there's other things that you can do to heal yourself and live a better, longer life. And that's what I've found for me, and it's probably what you found for you, hasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely. I think that I know myself and my body more than I've ever known before or ever thought I could, I guess. When you go through something like this, I mean, I think you learn very, very quickly that you're stronger than you ever thought you could be.
right.
Um, I also feel that just human nature, many of us search for ways to help ourselves. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're in that life or death situation and you want to live, you're going to search. And
Yeah.
so I thought Eastern and Western medicine complemented each other. And yeah, I went out and I searched, and I became a whole different person, to tell you the truth. And I think I needed to go through this. I mean, I don't know if you can say cancer is a blessing, but
Mhm.
I went through this and I evolved. And
Yeah.
now I'm here to help others and see the can in cancer,
Hmm.
because we can do it.
Yeah. You know, when you look around, and there, and I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of things that bombard us every day. You know, if you were to just be able to gift three things to people who don't know naturopathic health, they don't know a better way of healing or a better way of managing or a better way of eating, a better way of changing the environment. What are three things that you would say they're really easy, and if you start doing this a year from now, your life will be just a little bit better. What would be three things that you could gift, our entrepreneurs in the realm of self-care so they can live a better, healthier life?
Well, I think one thing is stay hydrated, definitely. That's something easy to do. We've got plenty of water, right? Another thing I believe is mindfulness. And another would be breath work. I know that when I'm feeling very overwhelmed, I just take some deep breaths. It's something that's always with me. I don't have to go searching for it. And I take a step back and I like to, uh, I even write down lists like, okay, step one, this is how I'm going to get through this. And then I'll work on the next thing. That's just kind of what came onto the top of my head. There's so many things that you can do.
Well, and see, I love that you talked about breath work, and I love that you talked about water. Because if we really look at our existence, I mean, how long can we live without air? You know, how
Yeah.
long can we live without water? And here's the thing, if we're inefficient, with our breath work, if we're inefficient with the way that we breathe in and relax on the way out, I mean, we can actually even control our blood pressure just by
Yes.
breath work, can't we?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's so amazing. And of course through hydration, I always say, I'm talking, we're talking true hydration. We're talking about water that goes into each and every cell and creates energy, aren't we?
Hmm. And
And
that
so
that also reminds me too of, guided meditation. Like if you're not able to sleep at night, there's so much out there right now that's positive guided meditation that helps you heal while you're trying to sleep. Because I have a monkey mind. Sometimes I can go to sleep fine, and then I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'm thinking about XYZ that I have to do the next day. And sometimes I just turn on one of those guided meditations and I go right to sleep.
for you, Mary, what does the next 3 to 5 years look like for you?
Wow. If I, okay, can I talk dreaming? Are we dreaming?
Well, you know what? I mean, you know what? There's a whole audience of people. There's a whole community that can dream with you. So,
Oh,
why not? What does
gosh,
that
I
dream look
love this
like?
community. I love you. Thank you. Okay, so 3 to 5
Thank you.
years, I would love to be standing in front of an audience and sharing a message of hope and inspiration,
Hmm.
along with some workshops for them to take home with them. Maybe another book is in the future. And
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
that would be lovely. And you know what?
Absolutely.
I've always told
Several
everybody.
books.
I've always told everybody that that my story is going to be a movie one day, because
Mm,
there's it just is there's so much hope in there, and it shows that God can move mountains. We just have to believe
yeah.
and have faith. And not everybody's story is a success story in the way that mine was, but we're all victors because of the blood of Jesus Christ. So
Uh,
I'm just beyond grateful just to be here talking to you today, Robert.
Well, I am grateful too, and it really is all about connections, and I appreciate your faith. And one last thing, I'm going to go back to like my older son, what he said. He said, once, you old people got it all wrong. He says, when you talk about legacy, it's not the stuff, it's the knowledge, because they can take away your stuff. They can take away the stuff, but they can't take away your knowledge. And with knowledge and the wisdom to apply it, you can do anything. You know, do you agree with what my son Troy said when he was 13 years old?
That's a smart kid. Smart kid. Yes, I do agree, because now that you even say that, I know that I prayed for wisdom to get me through it. And,
Hmm.
even in the Bible, people prayed for wisdom. I think that's the one thing that we need is our health and wisdom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Everyone, I am here. Let me get this going across here because I want everyone to know. There we go. I am with Mary J. Robinson. She's an author, speaker, holistic health guru. I'm just going to say guru, and owner of Kaleidoscope Energy. Actually, I want to know Kaleidoscope. How did you come up with that? Because that is an amazing word, Kaleidoscope.
Well, bless you for
That's a
saying
story
that.
right there.
I actually have wondered if I should change it because nobody can spell it. um,
Well, you could say, well, spell kale, then idioscope.
hey, I love it. I thought of it because
You know,
when you have a kaleidoscope, and you turn it to
mhm.
see the different colors, I just think of shifting your life. When we work with the body, we're
Mm.
we're trying to unclog those blocks and congested areas, and working with the chakras and the colors. I thought of a kaleidoscope, so kaleidoscope energy, and we can shift our life. That's how I came up with it.
Don't change it. I think it is amazing. Just it's like I entrepreneur. It's like who can spell that? I have a little way of helping people spell that. But at least with yours, you can go kale, like kale you eat, kale
Right.
idioscope. You know what? and just let them know that's how you spell it, and they'll never forget it again. Again, I am with Mary J. Robinson. So much you learn on this show, right? I am with Mary J. Robinson. She's an author, speaker, holistic health guru, and owner of Kaleidoscope Energy. Don't change that name, LLC. You can contact her at kaleidoscopenergy@gmail.com or call her at 402-660-1965. Again, that's 402-660-1965. Mary, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Robert. It's been a pleasure. And today's your book.
Oh, the pleasure.
The big grand opening.
Yes. And everyone, don't forget, you can go to, whoops, the wrong one. Here's the wrong ticker. You can go to mybook.to/art of connection 4. That's the number 4. So mybook.to/art of connection 4. And Mary, you're in that book with me, and you're with Dar, and you're with Dr. Krieger. So thank you for being. I cannot wait. We're going to be international bestsellers. So, please go look for it at Amazon, at mybook.to/art of connection 4. And, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
All right, we had Mary J, and we had J.Robert, and I'm Robert J. So we had a lot of J's going on today. So I want to thank each and every one of you who are on the show with me today. And there's places to go and things to do, but you took this time and place to do it with us. And I want to thank you for that. So remember, this is the crazy state of Arizona. Right now, we're on Mountain Standard Time. And what does that mean? I don't know. It just means that we're on Mountain Standard Time in the crazy state of Arizona, and the other part of the year we're on Pacific Time. So please make it a great week, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
You've been watching the iEntrepreneur Show, a production of the iEntrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.